Thank you, Speaker. I rise on behalf of the Greens in strong support of the incredible work of community legal centres in New South Wales, and thank the member for Camden for bringing this issue to the House. In the electorate of Newtown, we are lucky enough to be home to a significant number of community legal centres, including the Community Legal Centre New South Wales head office, and we have the opportunity to work closely with many of them in their vital work, performing a role in our community, providing and working every day to provide people with assistance experiencing financial hardship, discrimination, domestic violence, tenancy issues and other forms of disadvantage in New South Wales. This is the assistance that they would simply not receive if community legal centres did not exist. They also help to shape and guide policy and laws and advocacy work that addresses inequality and inconsistencies in our communities and our laws. I acknowledge that additional funding that flowed to the community legal sector as part of the federal government's response to COVID-19 was much needed, and that the impacts, as the impacts of COVID unfolded, CLCs across the state were faced with drastic increases in the large number of people accessing their services and requiring vital support. It is worth noting that unlike Victoria, the New South Wales Liberal National Government did not match this Commonwealth funding boost for frontline legal assistance services, and that CLCs remain in desperate need of increased funding and secure funding to properly deliver their services. It is crucial that the community legal centres receive stable and ongoing funding that is based on careful analysis of the legal need. Every member in this place can talk about the value and importance of community legal centres, and we must ensure that they have the secure funding to be able to deliver on that support. Only stable funding enables centres to strategically plan and manage adequate levels of service delivery in their communities, and that consistency is key. Right now, CLCs are in need of additional funding in order to support centres to meet rising demand for services caused by crises such as the current pandemic, the 2019-20 bushfires, fill geographic service gaps in rural, regional and remote areas, deliver New South Wales government assistance to support the New South Wales operations of 4 nationally operating community legal centres, and improve access to justice for families engaged with the child protection system and the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. What we know and understand is that community legal centres, like many other organisations, have made a pre-budget submission, and I would urge the Treasurer to consider those asks closely. It is urgent and important that the New South Wales Government invest an additional $11.68 million per year over the next 4 years into community legal sector in New South Wales, to include increased funding for general funding of community legal centres for unmet need, and improve access to justice for people experiencing family and domestic violence. In addition to that, we would all agree that the incarceration rates of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people is a key concern, and one that community legal centres are well placed to address. They are urging, and we are urging, the New South Wales Treasurer to commit to $19.3 million over the next 5 years to ensure that there can be a full implementation of all 125 recommendations from the independent review of the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander children out of home care in New South Wales. It is absolutely crucial that community legal centres are properly funded before problems can spiral out of control, pushing them into poverty, homelessness and debt, and limiting their interactions with public hospitals, police, the courts, prisons and out-of-home care systems. We absolutely know that community legal centres do that vital work, and I want to say thanks to those in the electorate of Newtown, including the Australian Centre for Disability Law, the Court Support Scheme, the Financial Rights Legal Centre New South Wales, HIV and AIDS Legal Centre, Intellectual Disabilities Rights Service, the Criminal Justice Support Network, Greater Sydney Aboriginal Talent Service, Redfern Legal Centre, Refugee Advice Casework Service, Tenants Union of New South Wales, Aged Care Rights Service, Older Persons Legal Service, Welfare Rights Centre New South Wales, and just over the border of the electorate of Newtown, the Marrickville Legal Centre and the Aboriginal Women's Legal Service. I thank all of those community legal centres in the electorate of Newtown for their incredible efforts and work.